2025 is officially here, and with that, I have to ask the age-old question for Fallout fans, and that is the 2018 dumpster fire that is Fallout 76 worth it now?
No!
Wait, just wait. Before you just auto say no and nothing else, please just hear me out on my reasoning as I run through the age-old question: is Fallout 76 worth it playing in 2025? Now, first, a little bit about me. I too was, I guess, scammed, I guess you could say, about the release of Fallout 76. I bought the mid-tier edition, which gave me extra stuff, so I ended up paying about $80 for a pre-order of the game. I bought it for my PlayStation 4 when the beta came around, and oh my god, the game was awful. Like, it was straight up just bad and awful. You can't get around it. You know, between the bugs, the bad lighting, all of the glitches that happen, there are just so many things. I felt robbed, to say the least, and I barely played the game on my PlayStation. However, as a Fallout content creator, especially on Instagram, where you can check me out at Fallout True Facts, shameless plug, I felt I needed to play it, only for updates to keep my followers informed. So I got up to level 70 or so before I just eventually gave up and stopped reporting anything about the game. Now, I'm telling you this because this is my background on the game. I am a person who was vocal about how bad 76 was, and I felt cheated. I also don't like MMOs or online games, and that's really why I like Fallout games and story-based games. So, with that in mind, bear with me as I say you should give Fallout 76 a chance in 2025. Now, does it mean that Fallout 76 should be put on a pedestal for being good? No. It has some lore inconsistencies that I wish weren't involved in this game. And there are some other things that I wish were different. However, it has been dedicated and has been updated by the developers for the past couple of years. And with that, I dare to say that it is kind of fun at this point. And you should give it a chance. But here are a few stipulations to that note. Number one, I don't think it's worth that $40 price tag. Again, as someone who plays Fallout for its quirks, charms, and quests, Fallout 76 is definitely lacking in it. And by lacking in it, I don't mean the amount of quests, as there are plenty of quests to do within the game. And in fact, starting a brand new character from level 1, which I did for this video, and another one I'm currently working on, you will find you're kind of overwhelmed by the almost relentless amount of quests and side quests that you get in the game, and most of them at this point are actually from NPCs that you can talk and interact with. Now, what the quests are missing are the Fallout charm and or feel to them that you find in all the other games. Because it's online, your choices don't really matter. You know, there are only a handful of quests that gives you an illusion of choice that basically just dictate your ending on who you side with, which don't ultimately add anything. It's just who the NPC is going to last in your game, and that's about it. But with that in mind, there are also little RPG elements that are found in the game. For instance, if you have a high enough strength or perception, you can bypass needing to find scrap or a certain thing because you can essentially make a skill check, which does that and improves upon the game a little bit from what Fallout 4 had in its. So with that, what would I say is a good price tag for this game? Honestly, for $20 to $25, I think it would be worth it. At this point, you know, you can find Steam sales or sales throughout the year on different platforms that you can get 76 for about $10 on some sales. Just wait for it to go on sale, and I think it'll be worth it to play. Or if you're on Xbox or PC, get Game Pass, and you can get it with all the other games you can get on Game Pass. And I think it's worth it. If not, just try and get out, honestly, because 76 is not perfect, but it is not worth shitting on for the foreseeable future. And I think it's definitely worth a second chance. Next, for number 2 of my stipulation of this, is the game is really only good, especially in the earlier levels, during the double or triple XP events. Now, throughout the year, you can usually find these events going on for like a weekend or a few days, once a month or a couple times a month. And in this, you can find double or even triple the amount of experience from events and quests that you can find in the game. Now, this is especially true if you're starting a brand new character, which the early game can feel like a grind, especially going through those early quests. And because you can only really finish your build or get like decent in the game in quotes until you reach at least character level 50, to which you can have a full perk layout of the game. Now, those earlier levels, if you're just picking perks willy-nilly and or just trying to build what you wanted to do in the game, you won't be that good in the beginning. And that's why I think having those double XP events are essential whenever playing, especially in the beginning, to enjoy it. You also feel a bit more rewarded from these quests and events, and which makes you that gratification to make you want to play more. So I definitely think if you are coming back to the game, it is definitely worth it for you to stick around for those weekend events when trying to replay it, as that is super important in my opinion. Finally, you absolutely need to have your build figured out ahead of time in your head, written down somewhere. There are plenty of sites to plan out your build and or recommend builds that I'll links in the description. I'll use the one that I used, especially for a video I'm working on. But you absolutely need to have a plan of attack. If you go into the game and just start picking perks and trying to figure out what works and what doesn't, you're not going to get a build that works for the game. It's, compared to someone who has played Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 3, and the originals, which they don't really matter for this case, multiple times, not to say the perks don't matter, but the perks don't matter as much as it does in Fallout 76. You have a select amount of perk cards and how much you can upgrade and how many perks you can have at one time. The level cap of how many you can get is about 50. However, how they do it is you can only have, you only unlock certain perk cards at certain levels, meaning that you can be planning everything out, but you have to wait until a certain level to do it. So you have to be very particular on which perk cards you pull out, especially in these early games. If you're just pulling perk cards like ones that don't go well together whatsoever because you thought that's a cool looking perk, your build will just not make sense. And especially because Fallout 76 is, after a certain level, around level 50, everything becomes a bit of a bullet sponge. Those early levels are absolutely crucial on stacking up on what you need and building the plan. Because if you decide to switch builds mid-game, number one, you have to get a lot of levels to acquire enough perks to switch your entire build around. And number two, you have to get the gun that fits, you have to get ammo that fits. It's a lot of effort to switch perks at that time, and you might as well just start a new character at that point. So figure out a build that is best for you. And I think that is why a lot of people have been turned off from Fallout 76 compared to the original Fallouts, is because there's a lot more planning in Fallout 76 compared to the other games. That, and it's a couple of other things, but that's the main thing in my opinion. So in conclusion, Fallout 76 can be a fun game. It's just different. If you're going into the game expecting it to be like Fallout 4 or Fallout New Vegas or Fallout 3, it's not. At the core of it, in my opinion, Fallout 76 is not really a Fallout game. It just has the same world and lore behind it. However, on that point, the community behind the game is really nice when getting into the game now. I remember when the game first came out, it was really toxic. Like, there were just PvP people. They would just randomly come up and attack you and try to steal all your loot and just griefing. And it was just awful, especially if you were a low-level person. High levels would just come in and try to kill you. Now, if you go into it, I have played for multiple hours on this new build that I've been doing for another video, like I've been saying. And what I have found is the people are so nice. You'll be walking around anything under level 50, and some higher levels will just come up to you, like emote at you, and drop like 300 stim packs and rataways for you with nothing else, just emoting and then just leaving. That is it. That's all they will do. And it's absolutely amazing to see a community behind this, especially after what they've all been through. But between the community and the developers behind it at the team of Bethesda, they have really kept the oil behind the machine working really well, which is really nice to see, especially if a game at this age and that bad of a start, seeing it constantly updated is refreshing, to say the least. And the biggest thing behind this is the game will be continued to be updated. Todd Howard has said that for this foreseeable future, Fallout 76 will be continued to be updated because they make enough money off it that there is no reason for them not to. So it's more now than ever to just jump on the train to try it now with these things in mind. Is the game perfect? God, no, absolutely not. There are bug and issues still to this day. It's not as bad as before, and things have changed. There are now NPCs in the game. There are now more quests. There are people to interact with. There's the nice community. Like, there's so many things that have changed behind it. I'm still annoyed by enemies increasing in difficulty. I hated that update. Basically, as you increase in your level, so does the enemies around you, which basically makes everything a bullet sponge, which I've, said before. That was also annoying. It just eats your ammo and stim packs if you don't have a good build, like I said. But there are still some cool story moments that add to the Fallout world and lore. And at this point in the game, if you are just hating this Fallout entry just to hate it because how it was at the beginning, it's not really fair. Don't get me wrong. If you can play it now and still say how much you hate it and blah, 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 I totally get it. Like, list me your reasons as to why you think it's an absolutely awful game, and I will hear you out. However, if you're just going around saying Fallout 76 sucks because of the launch, that's not really fair, because that's not what this game is now, right? I think it is worth definitely a second chance to go back around. But yeah, you let me know down below. If you have played Fallout 76 recently, tell me why it sucks and why you dislike it. I'm not going to claim, again, Fallout 76 is perfect. I'm just saying you deserve a second chance at it, because it's not awful. It's not as bad as it was in 2018, but that's just my ideas and personality and what I feel behind it. So let me know what your thoughts are on this game going forward. I'm just interested in seeing what everyone else says. But until then, if you like Fallout content, Fallout lore, and Iceberg videos, I make a bunch of those on my channel. I'm going into more some 76 stuff, especially down this year, some Elder Scrolls content. If you're interested in any of that stuff, please consider subscribing and joining you around to hearing what I have to say. But until then, this is Nick from Nickstalgic, signing off.